Okay, so in this example it says determine the direction and magnitude of the phase shift for, and then they give us that function. Now, direction, they're talking about, like, is it going to the left or the right? And the magnitude is how much? Left or right? And then how much is it shifting? So using our function, y equals a sine, it's a sine curve, bx minus c plus d, then c over b, so the phase shift is negative pi over 6 divided by, so that's c right there. And it's negative, right? Because our formula says minus. So you've got to think of that as minus a negative, okay? And then b is just 1 in this case. So it's shifting, it shifts pi over 6 to the left. Now, you might be saying, well, what does this look like graphically? So here's 2 pi. I always have to kind of draw it out. There's the normal sine curve, more or less. And remember, it goes in the other direction. So maybe I should do a little bit this way so you can see it. It would go down here. Oops. And that might be a little too far down. So it's continuing this way. Okay. And now ours is going to shift to the left. So pi over 6, well, that's going to be about 1/3 of the way. So it's not a very big shift. And then all those points are shifting pi over 6 to the left. You can kind of draw them in here. So you'd have a point here. This one would be at 0. This one would be at -1. This one would be at +1. This one would be at 0. This one would be at -1. And this one would be at 0. So it's looking kind of, well, it's not very smooth, but kind of like that. So it should be shifting, though, the whole thing should be shifting to the left pi over 6, okay? But actually, this has a shift down, right? So you'd have to go down -2. 1, 2, So all those points would have to go down here to get, the actual curve. That one would have to go down, and then the one there would have to go down. I think that's a little too low. I think that's supposed to be a little bit higher there. And then that one would go down. So it'd be like, kind of like that. We'll show you better ways to do that. I'm just kind of eyeballing it. So you can use a little bit more of a ruler and things to make it a little bit shaped better. But it helps too when they tell you, okay, graph over, and they give you a certain interval to graph it over so that you don't have to keep continuing it on and on.